Lord be with you. And with your spirit. From the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Lord, to you, Lord.
Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
When there are 10 kids in your family, vacationing isn't really a thing. But we did take one trip every year to visit Dad's side of the family, 9 hours away. Sleeping children were transferred from the house to the car so that the driver could have at least a few hours in the early morning before the chorus line of chaos and complaining began. The whole ordeal was kind of exciting, but mostly miserable, so it took an entire year to forget about the pain and think that it might be a good idea to try it again. The first time I went on what most people consider a real vacation was with my older brother a few years ago. 3 days relaxing on a beautiful beach. It was glorious. We kept saying things like, let's just stay here forever. This must be what heaven is like. I never want to go home. But the truth is, we got kind of bored towards the end, itching to get back to doing something else because while we definitely need renewal from time to time, human beings are not made for comfort. We are made for mission. I'm sure there are at least a few reasons why St. Peter wanted to make tents and stay put. It had to have been quite the mind-blowing experience to witness the transfiguration and to hear the voice of the Father from heaven. So thrilling and with so much to ponder, but it also appears that he was grasping at a false sense of security, not wanting to return to the difficult life of a disciple. That's why Jesus told him, Rise and do not be afraid. In other words, although this might feel like heaven, it's not. And we need to keep moving because we've got a mission to fulfill. Isn't it true that we also look for security, and in so many different ways? wanting to feel secure in our personal health and well-being, with financial security, a secure home, security for the ones we care about. But isn't it also true that we can very easily hide behind those kinds of things and miss the whole point of life? There's a reason why we were created, and there are people depending on us passionately pursuing our true purpose. Something we need to help us courageously embrace our path is deeper prayer. Not just saying prayers, but going deeper in prayer. But for so many people, venturing into this new reality at first might not feel like we expected or hoped for. That's why it's so easy for us to either go back to the way we used to pray, where we do all the talking, or decide instead to just really get involved in doing things for God, and we'll call that our prayer. But for those willing to persevere, rise to the challenge, St. John of the Cross describes what is supposed to happen. Keep in mind, God is love, and love is like fire. In prayer, God ministers to the soul by purifying and preparing it for loving union. In the same way, a fire acts upon a log of wood. First, the fire begins to dry the wood, causing a hissing sound. Next, it begins to char the wood and give off a bad odor. Then it reveals any deformities in the wood, along with crackling noises. But then finally, the wood is transformed and becomes as beautiful as the fire itself, with all its actions and properties, now both lighter and brighter than ever before. These past few weeks, we have been learning how we will need both trust and time, humility and focus, desires and clear next steps. But today, we're realizing we're also going to need perseverance and faith. These will be critical. If we want to grow our prayer life, we should ponder and practice what it tells us in the fourth part of the Catechism. We often get caught up in the wrong things, like, I don't like my appearance. I don't like the shape I'm in. I'm not happy with where I'm at, and I wish I had a different position on the wood pile. Jesus doesn't seem to care so much about these kinds of things. Instead, he's like, whoa, look at that awesome log. Let's turn it into fire.